Yo.
Yep.
Let me turn off this. I just realized I need to change your name in the template, by the way. Your name was entirely misspelled last week.
It was what?
It's Greene, right? Or wait, how do you spell your last name?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Grene.
Yeah.
Green with the E on the end.
Yeah. That was not the case.
Oh, I didn't even notice, to be honest. Oops, my bad.
Khan is apparently here from Olive Garden.
What a place to... Dude, I may go there tomorrow. Ah,
Get that unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Dude, it's only worth... Olive Garden is... I don't want to waste it, though, just by myself. Because that's such an easy, like, one to get the girl to go to. And you don't have to spend anything on her, because... it's so easy here to go out, get something, you split it with her, and you're still grotesquely full. Like, it's honestly gross how full you are.
Yep.
And you spent like $20 on a date night.
That's classic Italian food for you.
Yep.
File save as a copy. I need to save this as a PNG.
They do the same thing with pizza, bro. Pizza's so bad for you.
I mean, I know. You're talking to the guy who lives in the pizza capital of everything.
But then, like, you watch stuff of, like, Italy people cooking, and you're like, oh, the reason they're all not fat is because they just make it in, like, an actual portion. Like, in America, we're just like, bro, look how much food I can give you for $5. And we're like, pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. They're like, it's like 600 calories. You're getting more than 100 calories a dollar.
If you
And
didn't
you're like,
know, Americans don't really give a
alright.
fuck.
Yup.
As was evident today by the shooting that happened 2 blocks away from my office.
Oh. That was 2 blocks from
2
you?
blocks away from my office. Yeah, I walk past that Hilton all the fucking time to go get my lunch.
I haven't seen the video, but I was told he caught his casings. Like he was pretty practiced.
Well, he had a silencer on the end of it, so he had to whatever you have to do to get like the casing out of the silencer of it. Like, you have to unjam it or whatever it is. Whatever bullet he was using.
Cock it back.
Yeah, but he would catch the bullets when he unjammed it, so that there were no casings in the area.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. So he was really grinding this out.
Dude, not even social media, the offices had you could just, it was a conversation of everybody. And there was this one fucking kid, 10 years old, no more than.
Yeah.
I'm going to get lunch, and I'm walking in the opposite, if our building's here, the shooting happened like right here, I went over here to get lunch. I'm walking, some kid is with his class who's clearly going to see a Broadway show. And he just starts yelling out, I'm the killer, and his teacher looks back and is like, shut the fuck up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And they're just all laughing about it. And obviously not.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, they're laughing about it. I'm sitting like, dude, you're in the tourist part of town.
You should have walked up to him and been like, you clearly have too big of an ego. You could never pull off something like that. And walk away. Set him down a life path that he'll never come back from.
Oh my god, dude. And apparently the killer, he's still at large. They haven't
found him.
No,
they don't know.
Because it's too easy. I guarantee he planted clothes in Central Park, and he just went into Central Park, changed clothes. That's it.
Yeah, they said he's changed clothes already. He had, all you could see was his eyes, apparently. So I mean, sounds like he did a pretty good job.
But he bought some at Starbucks earlier.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's with like a stolen card or something, but yeah, with only his eyes. Dude, it is brick cold here. Like nobody's gonna blink an eye when you show up to the cash register with nothing but your eyes open, especially Starbucks in the morning, because everybody even going into the office is still wearing dude, I'm wearing a big winter coat. If I have the hood up, you can't even see above here. Like everything's cut off. So it's like, yeah, like nobody's gonna blink an eye at this dude going into Starbucks like fully masked up to get his shit. Hell, the DoorDash and like the bike delivery drivers are walking in, and you can see nothing but their eye, like even less than what was visible there. And they'll just come up, hold up their phone, you give them the order, and they'll go.
I forgot how like tough people can be sometimes, because those comments are tough on a dead man. They're all just like,
sorry, my apologies are out of network.
Yeah, P, that's everything people are saying. Like, yeah, he can get blown. Like, it doesn't matter. Some of the comments were like, TBH is gonna happen to a lot more of them. People are mad, and it's like, gosh, dang.
Yeah. Oh, the worst was whenever Blue Cross made their announcement at like 3:00.
Yep.
About how they're not covering anesthesia all the way or past certain points in surgeries, and the top comments were like, are you trying to get your CEO popped as well? I was like, holy fuck, people.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, the dust hasn't even settled. Relax. I get your point. I mean, you're not wrong on that front, but relax.
Yeah, theirs is wild because now they're making the rules. Like Blue Crosses. They decide how long a surgery should be. And if it goes over time. So now, like, I don't even know what you do, because you're not going to tell your doctor to speed it up. Like, if you're dying like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody challenges that in court and gets it overturned.
I mean, they should. I think at this point they've let healthcare go too far to, like, stop it. You can't stop it. So you have to make it so that it actually helps people stay alive.
I mean, we're literally playing the Hunger Games out here, where everybody that lives in the capital, aka has a certain amount of wealth to be able to afford healthcare, is like living life, and everybody else is sitting here like, the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yep. And if you want it so that it's good or just as cheap as the rich ones, you sign up for the military or the police. Only way to get it.
They're donating your body one way or another.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Dude, there's a lot of. I mean, I know this is why it's the crossover. Oh, and Beans won't be able to make it. He's feeling sick.
Oh, okay.
But
you got a red also like South Korea, by the way.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I keep trying to fix it. I think it's just the camera's whack with the lighting. Because I'm in a hotel, so it's not liking it. But the South Korea stuff is crazy too. Yeah, I do. More stable than the South Korean government.
Oh wow, you're at a nice hotel. You don't even have a cuck chair. You have a cuck couch.
I know.
Wow.
It actually just came back from the hot tub.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because of winter.
What you were doing down there?
In the hot tub.
Yeah.
Just hot tubbing.
Yeah.
I can't drink because I'm an aviation man. So.
Yeah.
12 hours before you fly. So before people think that I don't drink, and I will not publicly publicly catch myself.
Yep.
But a lot of stuff going on. Bro, a lot of stuff going on in the world.
Yesterday was wild. I'm sitting there like
I bet for you.
I'm sitting there like, oh man, am I gonna be able to release this interview with everything happening in South Korea? And it was just like I was like, I don't know if now's the time. And then like 3 hours later, I was like, oh, it's over. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm confused at why this dude wanted political suicide, but apparently there's a dude that I watch on TikTok that I don't know if you've ever seen him. He does a lot of jokes about like World War II, and does it from like the perspective of like somebody just mishearing something. And that's what starts like these massive moments. And he did one covering what happened in Korea yesterday. And it was just the funniest shit, like learning everything about like this guy's family is apparently like his wife is about to be indicted on what's it called? Corruption charges and a bunch of other shit that like the whole family was going down. So this is like a last ditch effort for him to like remain in power.
Oh.
So that's why he was willing to go as far as he did.
Oh.
But
I was more than anything blown away that their military people actually showed up.
I mean, you got to follow the orders of the president, no? I mean, you don't have to, but you risk losing your job, and it's not like those guys get paid enough to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm going to take a moral stand.
We just must be different, because I know 1,000% if a president did something like that, and like every single politician was like, this is wild, and every single military member was like, this is wild.
Really?
We would all just stand there and go.
How do you? Okay, real talk. How do you think second January 6th would have went down? With Trump and with.
Well, we showed up right after it happened to stop it. They sent National Guardsmen to go quiet everything down.
Do you think anything has changed over the last 4 years? The political climate is much different now than it was back in 2020. Do you think everybody would fall in rank and order?
In the army?
Yeah.
To stop that?
No. If Trump wanted, if Trump sent Army and National Guard to go defend his people, as they like flip the script, all right.
We wouldn't do that now.
All right.
It's unconstitutional. So we wouldn't support a coup. I just know, like, from people I know in the military, no way. Maybe some units. I couldn't speak on all. But I'm saying I
know all wouldn't, but I know quite a few that would.
You think there are quite a few that would?
I think there are a few that would. Like, if Trump sent National Guard and crew to like New York City and like the liberal zones to martial law it, yeah, I could see a few people in the army going for it.
Yeah, I don't think, because we're not supposed to do much with like American citizens. That's highly preached for us.
Yeah.
And what they did was pretty much infringing on their citizens.
Yeah.
Like,
What I think
rights.
would likely happen is you'd have all the generals go against it, and you'd have or like everybody that's high rank within the army speak out,
Yeah.
like try and stop it from happening before Trump could actually do something. But there definitely would be people that would follow him and do it. Not a doubt in my
Yeah, there's
mind.
a possibility. I mean, there's so many people in the world. You would think
Yeah.
a couple would.
Yeah, you can't
But I
control
think
everybody.
like we would not be as bad as they were.
I'd be curious to I don't want it to ever happen, to be very fucking
Yeah,
clear.
yeah.
But it's just one of those where it's like it's weird. I don't think martial law would ever happen like that here. But
Well, it
then
also
again,
helps that the U.S. Army is like fully. We swear in to defend the Constitution.
yeah, not the president.
Yeah, we're every other military does too. So we're all there to protect the Constitution. The Secret Service is there to protect the president. If they want to take that turn, that's on them.
Yeah.
But the military is there to do what they're told to do to defend the Constitution. So
It
if the president says something that goes against the Constitution or breaks the way the government is made, then the army basically is
even if he
just like,
tried to pull a constitutional argument as to why he's doing it.
yeah, I'm sure like a general would be like, nah man, you're playing too close with breaking it.
Yeah.
And that's just how it would go down. I mean, it's pretty tough. That's why, I mean, that's the one thing we've learned from the Romans, actually, not all the memes people say of like we're like Rome. Like,
Yeah.
we learned Romans didn't have enough stuff in place. Like, they had enough to make it really far and to get really big, but you have to have so many checks and balances, because the one thing that eventually pretty much sent them down a path of like destruction was, well, it also helped them for the time being, but then it destroyed them later on, was Caesar figuring out how to basically break the system. Like,
Yeah.
once somebody breaks it, it's over.
Well, I'm worried that we are breaking the system. Not from the military point of view now, but like the amount of pardons that are coming out from the executive branch. I had a problem when Trump did it. I have a problem with Biden doing it. I have a problem with all of them doing it because it sets a really ugly precedent that you can get away with a lot of shit so long as you're in the pocket of the person in power.
There's a lot of pardons being dropped the past, 8 years?
Mm-hmm. And that's the one
It
that I
is.
worry about because that undermines the legal system then. And like
Yeah.
we operate too slowly to overcome the pardoning of past charges, especially, I mean, nobody's tried pardoning a future charge yet. I'm sure that's coming at some point, but that terrifies me.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff is really, really deep in the weeds and nerve-wracking. I mean, the lucky thing for the Koreans is that theirs was pretty easy to go, this is a bad idea.
Yep.
What worried me for them was their military being that easy to pull, I guess. Just seems weird.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would be a lot harder to get ours.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we're a lot bigger in landmass, so the amount of people, right, who would actually listen to that from Trump would have to cover so much land.
Yeah.
It wouldn't come off as substantial as it could be on paper.
Yep.
But the people like in Korea, I guess it would be a lot easier because they're all closer, so it wouldn't be as hard to get them all there. But it just seemed weird that many of them were willing to go there. Because I feel like it would be a few. I don't feel like it would be a majority.
Yeah.
Of the U.S. military.
I mean, you're the one in the military, so I trust your judgment and guidance of like the people in the military more than I trust anybody else. So
I could see the old heads, right? Some of the old heads, but none who have enough rank to make a difference, or the younger ones who would actually have to do the work. And I think that's what matters.
Okay.
Like, the young people would be like, this seems like just a blatant disregard of the Constitution, because they question a ton of stuff already. Every young person we get questions everything. It's what people do now. And the
it's what
middle,
young people have always. You're telling me we didn't question stuff when we were young too?
yeah.
Come on,
Everybody does question stuff.
It's a young person thing.
Yeah, it's true. And then the old, like some of the old heads maybe, but they're not really old heads. You get what I mean, though. The middle-aged heads.
Yep. Oh man, world politics and shootings, all that aside, how you been?
Oh, pretty good. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin right now.
Oh, nice.
It's snowing. It's blowing.
It's cold.
They got a lot going on. Yeah, it's very cold. Couldn't even fly the drone today because it's so windy.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, like 30-mile-an-hour winds. It's just too...
Are you going to be able to go tomorrow or no?
Yes, it's supposed to die down tomorrow. It just gets nerve-wracking because the limit is around 26-ish for miles per hour winds, and then 30 gusting you can maybe go, but I don't know, when those gusts hit and you're trying to fly something around a telephone tower, it just doesn't feel very fun, so I don't do it.
Yeah.
There are people with a lot more money who have shown you can fly in 40 miles an hour winds, but they've also spent a lot of money learning they can do that. And I don't have that money.
They learn the limits real quick.
Yeah. If I had the money, I'd do it, but I don't.
You can't knock out the power grid, right? It's just your drone that gets fucked.
Yeah, it would just be my drone.
Okay.
And if I destroyed an antenna, I'd be out whatever an antenna costs, which I don't want to know.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Is if you kick one of those things to the point where it's no longer bouncing back,
yeah, that would be bad.
Now I'm sure there's some sort of workers' comp or workers' liability thing where accidents can happen.
You'd hope.
You don't want to find out, but you hope.
Yeah. I don't want to know what they would do to me, so I just don't test it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's spooky. It costs, I don't know, those things cost a lot of money. And those towers are some big boys. So I don't mess with it. The one that I was at, one of them wasn't too big. It was 190 feet. So that one wouldn't have been really too scary. But the problem was by the time I got to that one, the winds were really heavy and there were trees everywhere. So I didn't want to risk something happening where it flips, doesn't catch itself, lands in a tree, and I can't even get to it, I can't even try to catch it. And then the other one was it was a 300-foot tower, and I was like, the winds are 20 miles an hour down here. I can't imagine what they are up there.
Yeah, probably even more.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. And you could hear it howling and creaking, and I was like, I'll take some photos and leave and come back another day.
Oh, man. Well, at least it's clearing up tomorrow. That's the important part. Sam doing okay?
Yeah, the baby's whooping on her, but...
How long you got left?
March 10th.
So 2 more months.
We're coming down the home stretch. Yeah, it's starting to get real. I felt the baby kick the other day.
Ooh, okay.
That was cool. Yep. And she announces the name publicly in January.
Okay.
I've probably told it to you privately.
Yep.
I've talked to so many people about this baby. I don't remember who
you said it. You said it once the other day in a joke, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's the name. It's got it."
Yep. Her family likes the name a lot. Her grandma's funeral that we were at was the name of the baby. So her grandpa was crying, losing his mind over it. Yeah, he was loving it. But it was a good time. For a funeral, honestly, it was pretty fun with all them. But that lady was 99, bro.
Oh, so she lived a good life. It was more of a celebration than it was anything else.
They said that one of her claims to fame was that she was a second-hand account if you could have a conversation with her about the Civil War. like because her great grandmother lived through it, right? And then she was however old, like she was born during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
So she would talk to her great grandmother about the Civil War.
Wow.
Now her great grandmother was pretty old, like
I was gonna
for
say
that day and age.
had to be.
Yeah, and she wasn't very old during the Civil War. I think she was like 10, and she lived to be like 70,
Wow.
something. It was something like that. I'm probably off in some way.
I would
But
love to know some of those stories. Was she in Indiana all her life, or where was this at?
no, she was a Missouri lady.
Ooh, the Missouri Compromise. That's a treacherous
Yeah,
territory there.
I don't know, to be honest, all her beliefs. I would assume she was pretty progressive because she loved football and baseball, and she just wanted to see her teams win.
Wow.
So I don't think she really cared about who you were. She was just hoping you would help.
So wait, Missouri,
Like,
was she a Colts fan as well then, or Chiefs?
no, she was a Chiefs fan.
Okay.
She was born and raised there.
Okay.
And I mean, in her speech, she was such a diehard Missouri football fan. She said she wasn't fond of the other people across the river. She's talking about Kansas fans.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
she won't even name Kansas fans.
Wow. I mean, hey, kudos to
Yeah.
her for sticking to her morals at 99.
Yeah, she won't say the
Fuck
word
them Jayhawks,
Kansas unless it's like Kansas City.
Fuck the
She
Jayhawks.
pretty much blocks it out. Yep. She flew one time in her life, and it was to fly to Miami to watch Missouri play in the Orange Bowl, and she never flew again. She hated
Wow.
it.
Jesus.
She drove to Alaska. She was a psycho, apparently. But cool lady. I liked hearing her story.
I mean,
It
hey,
was funny.
good for her. Glad she
Yeah.
lived a good life, a long, good life.
They buried her in her Mizzou hat, and I was like, I feel like this lady and I would have gelled pretty well. Because she loved college football and basketball, and I was like, yeah, we would have gelled.
Jesus. Well, may she rest in peace. Glad it was
Yeah.
at least a happy event at a minimum.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I didn't know anybody, so I was chilling.
Yep.
I just gotta be there for the food and the good times.
Drinks there as well, or no?
No.
Yeah.
They have a lot of drinking stuff, so they don't drink.
Gotcha. Some places do,
Yeah.
some places don't. That's, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, the other death of my family, I know a lot of deaths, I'm sorry, but the other death, they were doing,
you gotta get them all out of the way before the
Oh.
baby comes, because then the baby is a celebration of life when it comes in.
Yeah.
It's the reversing of the tides.
We'll see, because if I get one of the army jobs and when I have to go to a school, every time I've gone to a school in the army, somebody in my family lineage has died, so.
That's terrifying.
And
Jesus Christ.
all these deaths haven't been in my family, so.
Oh, God.
And nobody's died since my last school.
I mean, I don't know if that's a count that you want to bring up. Like, that doesn't sound
pleasant.
Say,
I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Jesus. Well.
I'm nervous.
We didn't have any death over here. It's just Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving.
The normal good stuff.
The normal, like, friends over, Thanksgiving, turkey. Had 2 coworkers over, which was big. I don't know. There's always like that unspoken thing of like you have to like put on a good event whenever coworkers are like, even if they're friends outside of that, like you know that like pictures from the event and like everything are gonna make it their way onto social media and people around the office are gonna see. So you have to put on the best display you can. Feel like we crushed it. Feel like we rocked it, which is good. And yeah,
well, of course it's gonna be good. I cooked everything.
You enjoy Wicked?
Loved it. Oh, dude, I didn't think I was gonna sob at it, but fucking Defying Gravity at the end had me like, Jesus Christ.
Of course, everything was gonna be good. I cooked everything. I made the meal.
We're talking about Wicked now. We're past that.
My hair looks good.
You've been crying a lot lately, though, to TV shows and movies. You're getting your softer side.
Bro, I've always had a soft side. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never not been the case. You can ask Emily. I cry at the most mundane shit in TV and movies, and then it affects me for like 2 hours afterwards because I get all sentimental, start overthinking everything. I'm like assessing the meaning of life, everything, and shit just gets bad. And she just looks at me and is like, "Oh no, here we go again." And I'm like, "But you gotta understand how this applies to life, the metaphor that it could be."
Look at that. Wait, Wicked talk, and I'm stuck at Olive Garden?
Yeah, Khan's at Olive Garden.
Oh my gosh.
Well, whenever Khan gets home, we could have him.
Yeah.
Give his thoughts.
Emily's the emotional rock of the family, and somewhat. Okay? Somewhat.
Really?
What? What do you mean somewhat?
There's certain times when you are a rock. There are other times when it comes to, most specifically, reassurance and anything like that, that I am the rock.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
Have fun.
Not exposing other people's business on live streams. I'm just saying that I'm more of a rock than it appears. I'm just not allowed to say it. Fear of getting in trouble and retaliated against.
Starting to get closer to crying at movies. I think it's because of the baby.
Good.
She's softened me up, breaking me open a little bit. I think she's gonna crack me.
Oh man, you're gonna watch The Pursuit of Happiness and just start sobbing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've seen that movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna rewatch
I
it.
really liked it.
You didn't like it, really?
Not really. It was kind of boring to me, but I get why people like it. Don't get me wrong.
Watch it again once you've had your kid, and I'm curious to see if that still rings true or not.
It's the Will Smith one, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was just in the wrong headspace when I watched it.
Maybe.
Maybe that'll help.
I went on a deep dive on the guy that was based on afterwards, but
really,
we should probably talk about League of Legends at some point, though.
Yeah,
30 minutes. Don't say you're bad, bro. It's the off season. I don't give a shit. And as you can tell by the video earlier today, I've already talked a shit ton this week. So
I was gonna say.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say out of like the total airtime of like 90 minutes of that episode, I'd say Joe talked for about 60 of it.
Yeah, I mean, I luckily with all the driving I've been doing, I got to listen to the whole thing, so I got to hear it all, and yeah, I noticed about, I would say like a little over half the way through, it was hitting me like, man, Joe's really talking a lot, but this is like great for you because you're getting so much out of it. Like, you got so many clips out of it and stuff. I bet you could do, which I know, like, it was also just good to build the relationship.
Yeah.
But from a content perspective, I was like, this is like so good for content for you. Like, this is exactly what you would want out of an hour 30 talk with a guy.
Yep.
Who's the CEO of really the biggest team in esports, I'd say.
And I mean, there's like 7 more clips that, like, if there's a slow day on TikTok and we got nothing going on, clip a minute segment of that, put it up there, and it'll do decently well, and then respond to a comment later in the day, and it's fine. But like, that video is popping off. Last time I checked, I think it's at like 7,000 views, something like that.
Yep.
Within the first 24 hours, which for a channel of my size is pretty significant, and it's still climbing. I just got sent within the last like 45 minutes the Korean Reddit threads on it, so I still got to read through those, see if anything was going on. Obviously, not a lot of comments about like anything that I said for obvious reasons. Everybody's there to listen to Joe and hear what he has to say. So, to my understanding, not that many bad critiques on questions that I asked. I think I hit most areas. Is there anything that I left out?
To him, no. Nothing like I could think of that I was like, man, I wish you would have talked about. But probably because by the end of the video, I was pretty content with how much was said. I mean, an hour and a half of listening to a guy talk about how to run the league team and the scene and everything. I kind of wanted him to hit harder on the side of them being so like female heavy, seems a little weird for a sports team, to be honest.
Not really. I mean, the reason why I didn't ask about that further was because he spent so much time talking about how they perfect the look of it.
Yep.
Which,
yep.
If we're being honest, you're not perfecting the look for the guys. Like, we care about good gameplay and being like funny. Like, it's just what we care about. When he's talking about like the braces and everything that they're doing to like make their guys look and feel like pop stars, it's like, okay, you're doing that for the female gaze. Like, that's exactly what you're doing it for. So like, whenever he said that we have like majority female fans, I'm sitting there like, yeah, good looking guys for Korea with money. Yeah, like, come on, that makes sense to me. Fangirls are gonna fangirl. That's half the name of the game.
No, yeah, the second he talked about them getting braces for him and all that made sense to me. That they were doing that, but it was also, I don't know, it's just a weird, not weird, my bad. It's an interesting thing to think about that many females watch T1. Because I don't think any other fan base is probably close in that to just girls watching. And it does explain a lot about their fan base and why they do some of the things they do. It explained a lot to me.
I ain't gonna say that. You're treading on careful water there.
I know I'm treading on, like, this is dangerous waters and all that. But I think a lot of dudes, when they heard that, probably deep down went, okay. Some of this makes a little more sense now. Like, T1 is a lot more, what would you call, like, their fans are a bit more dramatic. Some of the things they were saying about Zeus was like, I was like, what are they talking about? Like, I know some teams get mad, but this is some weird stuff. And then I was like, oh, this is literally what you would do, though, like a Swiftie would do for the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
Like, every football dude knows when a Swiftie is talking about the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's a Swiftie. And it's just something you can feel out. And it's not a bad thing. It's just interesting to see a whole different side to sports, or like fandom in sports, because I've only known one way my whole life. So when you see another, it's always interesting. Like, all I know is basically razzing people, calling them stupid, and when somebody loses a player, you're like, all right, we're just going to boo him into eternity.
Mm-hmm.
But they were talking about like how he's turned his back on his brothers, how deep of a wound this is going to be for Faker and Guma, how bad it's going to hurt them. Owner will never be able to look at him the same. And I was like, what are you guys talking? They're all going to get paid and get laid in Gatorade, the normal foundation of sports. Like, they're chilling. I was like, if anything, you're just mad because you lost him. And made a little more sense to me.
Yeah, I think the difference is like when you look at K Corp versus T1 fandom, and you look at the extreme reactions from both sides. Yep. One is a lot of complaining online, just T1.
Yeah.
For K Corp, it's death threats. It's like it's more action. Like, they tangibly are like, okay, fuck you guys. We're not gonna go to your LEC studio. We're gonna have our own thing, and we're gonna do our own thing there. It's like
buying tickets and not going.
Yeah, it's a lot more like it's a lot more straight up male get backs than like female get backs.
Yeah, it like now you would think, oh yeah, it makes sense. T1 fans want to sell out a place and scream, cheer, bring signs, out cheer you, out whatever. They're well put together. Chants and things that they actually like are all in sync on. Like, a dude thing is being like, bro, what if we just buy out the whole thing and then just not show up at all? How good would that be to get back at them? That'd really piss them off. That's what they started doing. And people were like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still buying it, so it means that the place is selling out. And they were like, yeah, but it must feel pretty bad playing in front of nobody. And they're like, no, it doesn't hurt. While they're like getting really mad. So it's like they loved that. And it just is like funny to watch now. I mean, it definitely, I don't know, doesn't really change, I guess, how I look at T1 or their fans. No. It just interests me like very greatly.
It makes you think about how you interact with their fan base.
Yeah.
Not with the team,
and it makes
and not with the players. Like how we talk about them. Like it doesn't change shit for me on how I'm gonna grade the roster, the successes, the business decisions, etc. Like that doesn't change for me. But it's now in the back of my mind of like, okay, my perception of what T1 fans were, which I thought were just like this massive army of dudes that for the longest time like grew up with Faker, were like diehard loyalists to Faker and T1. Like there's that kind of sports loyalty like that. Like no, it's like it's K-pop fandom.
No, yeah, and it honestly makes me think they stand a really good chance of not losing a mass amount, as long as they don't lose more than I'd say 3 players in an off season. If they can continually keep, I would say 3, maybe 2 is enough, but if they can keep 3 every year without making too big of changes, I think they'd always have a pretty big fan base.
I mean, I think they'll have a big fan base no matter what. Like, even though...
Well, that's true. They're very...
Faker's also going to be around in the org, as was, like, Joe said, that, like, part of their fundraising capital was, like, to set aside for Faker projects. And I think it's like, oh, you're boosting up his retirement fund. That's what you're doing. Got it. Yeah. So it's like, they know. And that to me, there were some people that were like, oh, you didn't ask about T1 re-signing Faker. I was like, I didn't have to. It was said right then and there. Like they're gonna, like Joe's gonna do everything to make sure that he's there.
Yeah.
He's not gonna let Steve throw the bag at him or anything like that. And then when people, I mean, I understand this part concept about like other esports. Some people want to know about Valorant. Sorry, I don't care about Valorant. I care about League, the League pillar. All of my questions were designed for like understanding the League of Legends program in as much depth as I possibly could.
And he answered a bit about other esports. He talked about ones he wants to get into, but I mean, he already said it was kind of funny when he talked about NA Valorant, and he was like, bro, they just keep spending money for no reason. Like, I don't know why. So he just came back to Korea, like, whatever, bro. Like, that's kind of wild to just be like, bro, they won't stop blowing money. It's kind of dumb. and NA teams are just like, whatever, we're gonna keep blowing money. Like,
bro, they're good. It's the same fucking mistakes over and over and over again. It's wild. It is.
And I also really liked him correcting you on it's not VC funding, it's third-party funding.
Yeah.
So that you know, it's not. They're not normal VCs.
No, it's just debt. It's literally it's literally a loan. Like when they say third party funding, it's like it's literally just a bank loan that they owe back with interest. That's it. That's all it is.
Which is pretty much what VC funding is supposed to be, but this time you don't have to be.
Well, VC. The reason why you give VC funding is because you don't have to pay the money back. In theory, they're just a co-owner and part of it forever. Versus when you're assuming debt, when you're getting like $30 million and you owe, 4%, whatever the interest is going to be on it. Like the reason why that's so important to me and why I'm glad he laid out that every single aspect of T1 as an organization is profitable is because you're using that money to take a existing profitable revenue source and slam the door open. Whereas when we started franchising, when all that began, it was 50 million to these teams, to these orgs, in hopes that they could develop a revenue stream. This is not that. This is saying, hey, we have a method that works. We just want to expand it. It's literally Shark Tank. That's all it is, except with a bank loan. Which is why it's like the biggest thing that I left that whole entire conversation with is that T1 is going to be around for our entire lives. They're not going anywhere. Ever.
Yeah.
They'll be here.
Yeah, and one thing too that I was interested in was him saying like he's pretty much figured out how to fill out an arena and make that work monetarily. And he was like, I need this certain amount of seats. And then he was like, and I don't know why NA is not doing that. They can do this. And you had to be like, I don't know if we can.
Yeah, I still don't believe.
Sell that many.
I don't believe him on that. I don't think we can sell a 10,000 seat arena at the moment.
I
think we can in New York City. I think it's the only spot.
Yeah.
I think you put Madison Square Garden with only 10,000 seats. I think we can do it. But I think beyond that, no.
I do think if they wanted to start smaller, they would just have to figure out how on earth to get the production down to that size.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you would think they can figure out how to make it a little smaller than 500 grand per event, which he kept saying. Like, there's got to be a way to do that because K-Core's not losing money on their stadium, and their stadium is how big? I thought it was only 3, right?
Yeah. It's like 4K. It's like a theater.
Yeah, and their theater is making them money. So
to be fair, I'd imagine their stadium, to my understanding, is like in the middle of nowhere, so the costs are probably a lot lower in terms of like the stadium itself.
But I mean, like production costs.
Yeah, I mean that's the one.
How they get that down?
I don't know, because Riot has clearly set a standard that they want to try and keep.
And maybe they just do a worse production there, but it didn't look bad when they did the Red Bull event.
No.
Or was that not in that stadium? I thought it was.
No, the Red Bull event is in the Accords Hotel Arena, which is where World's Finals was in 2019. Khan said T1 and SKT have been the well-oiled machine for years and years. I mean, yeah, but they weren't profitable until 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Joe said that. Like when he came in, they were spending money out the ass, which is why SKT wanted to sell the entity. So whenever T1 and Comcast merged and bought it, or Comcast bought T1, first thing that Joe had to do was make everything profitable.
Yep.
Spending money out the ass, that ain't a well-oiled machine. By the way, Amax, thank you for the resub.
Yeah. No, and I know Khan made a comment in there that was a little...
Oh yeah, he got reamed.
Yeah, people were not happy with him. But I really don't think... I don't know. I know some people think he did show up to a good situation, and having Faker has been really kind for him.
Obviously.
But he is doing a good job at it sounds like he's pushing people, and that's good. Like the fact that he is pushing people in the scene means he cares. In other esports, they've shown that they aren't like as honestly dumb as other orgs. They're not just spending money in ways that are impossible to keep up with. They're trying to make money.
Yep.
Their future plans actually sound pretty interesting, like making a PC cafe, doing all this stuff to become...
I mean, they already have one PC cafe that's profitable. He just wants 11 more.
Yeah, which is like awesome. That's a cool idea.
Great.
And I think that's all good stuff. I mean, that's the right way to do it, and that's the right way to push your organization to really make money. It sounds like he has it down pretty good.
Did it bring a smile to your face when he brought up college in America?
Yeah. Yes.
It took everything I had to not go off on a tangent about our Raleigh proposal of like the 3 finals teams partnering with a college. It took everything I had to not just start laying into the LCS when he said that.
Yeah.
Dear God.
No, it's silly. The more he talked about NA, the more I was like, dude, we need to just get him over here or something, because this is crazy. Like the fact that he kept saying LA is an unsustainable price pool and they need to pick somewhere cheaper is like, yes, we've all been saying that. There are way better places that are much, much cheaper than LA.
Mm-hmm.
That you would think they would be putting in effort to go to. But for some reason, we're not. I mean, where's Call of Duty out
of? Everything is online except for the majors.
Oh, that's all online?
But then the majors are held by the teams in venues and events that they set. Like the first one, the first major is going to be held in Toronto by the Toronto Ultra. So they see the benefit of everything. And the Call of Duty League subsidizes a certain portion of the cost. But then they are responsible for the rest. And then any profit that they make on it, they make.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, see, that would be a cool idea. I mean, I found it a little worrying when you asked him like, how does Riot make this more than just what is it?
A marketing tool.
Ad for the game. Yeah, marketing tool for the game. And when does that change between you guys and Riot? And he did not sound very convinced that Riot wants to change that anytime soon.
The way he said it there is basically we have to operate within the parameters that Riot is setting, which is Riot wants it to be a marketing tool. And the teams have to figure out a way to do it on their own around that.
Yep. Which I didn't love. I didn't love hearing him say that. It made me realize, oh, he's like not at all convinced Riot wants this to be good. Like, or esport, a flourishing, self-motivating thing. They want it to just be a marketing tool. It also was interesting that he wanted to cut teams even further. And teams have been cut. I mean, that was crazy.
I mean, it's crazy and it's not at the same time because like the reason why he wants teams to get cut is because he doesn't want the regional model, which I get entirely. Like, because that part, I think most of us, in theory, would agree with.
Yep.
Because like the idea of going on, because like for people that didn't understand what he meant, because I had to explain this on Reddit, I think his idea would basically be we use that winner split to qualify teams into a Champions League, as Europe kind of has a really quick split, get the top teams in there, they'll get in there pretty quick. So then you have, say, I don't know, half the teams of Worlds. All right, so you have you have you have 3 seats from Korea, 3 from the LCK, 2 from Europe, 2 from North America, 1 from Brazil, 1 from PCS. They are all automatically going to like all the major tournaments throughout the year. They get automatic invitation to those. But you still have a domestic league as well running below it that the teams that are going to international events don't have to play in if they don't want to, because they're automatically guaranteed a slot. But I'm assuming you can find a way to make them come back if they want. But then you have teams that qualify from the domestic leagues into these major tournaments. So you have your teams that are going to be paraded around as like the top dogs, but you'll always have a challenger at the event as well. And then Worlds would still have a more flushed out, like it would have 4 Korean teams instead of just 2 or 3 or whatever you want it to be at this point.
Yeah,
like, I love that idea.
I was more meaning like crazy that it was right. Like the way he described it and the way you just broke it down is like kind of a good move, to be honest, for League of Legends. And it might be the way to go forward. I mean, right now, he is right that there's so much region play. And I will say, though, there's 2 sides to that. Either A, you have to make region play mean more, and you have to make people care about it, and it has to be worth something. Or B, you have to just accept that region play is not that big a deal to people and move on from it.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. What was he saying?
Khan saying that he really hates the idea. It reminds him of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League failed for a multitude of different reasons, one of which being the game sucked, and 2, because they didn't actually have that model. They never got to it. The Overwatch League failed before they could actually have proper homestands, proper major cycles, etc. They played almost all their games out of LA in the studio there. Though I get the Overwatch League failed badly, and I'm not saying that you need to copy it 1 for 1, but we do need to have we're at a crossroads that we need to pick. All right. Are we all eggs in on this domestic basket, or are we going to an international model? Because Riot is signaling that they want to go international, as is evident by the fact that international events get way more viewership than domestic events, obviously. But if you want to go domestic and you want to keep that, fine, figure out a way to do it. But like, we're in this middle ground where it seems like nobody in the system's really all that happy.
Mm-hmm.
From the sounds of me, or from what I got from it, it sounds like there's no chance in the world that T1 wins the LCK Cup. It almost sounded like they would throw to make sure that they didn't go.
Yeah, he did not sound like he liked that one at all. Like, you were like, well, what about the Golden Road? And he was like, I really don't care, bro. We're not a Golden Road team. We're a Worlds team. Which also made me think, like, it felt very, what is it? Like...
Double lift, I don't give a shit about spring mentality.
Well, that, but also, what is the word I'm looking for, bruh? He was kind of like contradicting himself. My bad. I could not think of the word. Gosh dang. But he was contradicting himself when he said, I don't care about that international event at the beginning of the year, but then also saying we need to have more international events where teams run them and parade them around. I was like, bro, those will get stale too, though, like the ones we already have that you don't like. Like, he already doesn't like them adding another international event while calling for more international events.
Well, I don't think my understanding is that he doesn't like the international event as it's scheduled now. The 5-team event with one from Korea, one from China, one from North America, and one from Europe. Like that is the one that he does not like. From the sounds of it, he wants to go to a system where you have major.
It's just more.
Yeah, it's more about like majors and champs. That's not saying that he wouldn't prioritize worlds over everything. But the weighting of those events would be much higher than it is now otherwise. And the fact that T1 would get to host those events, having a T1 major, even though it's not as important as Worlds, being able to win your own T1 major is incredibly important for them. And a matter of just like proving a point.
I'd have to see it. Maybe with tying it to teams it would help. But the way he was talking was like, no international but Worlds matters. So why would you want more of these tied to teams? It comes off weird, you know?
No, I get you. My understanding was no international in the current system, no international but Worlds matters.
Yeah. And I don't think giving it to teams would make it matter more than MSI matters.
I think it would make it matter for the team,
maybe for them, yeah.
For them in the business model, because there's like that glory of hosting your own event, which gives it a unique feel.
Yeah, that might help a lot. It just feels like right now we have, now we're going to have even more internationals, but we have two pretty big ones. And one of them is so clearly nobody cares about. I just can't imagine how on earth they're going to do more of them and make people care about all the others. Like, people only care about Worlds, to be honest.
It's tough because, like, coming from Call of Duty, like, Champs is the biggest event of the year without a question. Like, nobody's denying that Champs is bigger than the rest, but we still all give a shit about the majors otherwise. And like League is the only esport that is just like fuck everything outside of Worlds. So it's I don't have a explanation or reason other than people just need to have pride in winning those events. But I also understand why winning a 5-team kickoff event really doesn't mean a thing in the grand scheme of things. I get that portion of it. MSI, I disagree with. I think you got to win MSI. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about all the years where the MSI winner is basically clowned on compared to the Worlds winner. And, I mean, Chovy has an MSI, and everyone says Chovy is not going to be cool till he gets that international win still. Like, basically just disregarding MSI because he doesn't have a Worlds.
Yeah, but that's a narrative we had in Call of Duty for a while, too. Dashie, one of the best players to ever play the game, won multiple major titles throughout his career. Could never win champs. Was considered to be like the biggest choker. But people still wanted to see him win. And I got really excited to see him win majors. So when he finally did win his championship ring this past year, it just made the moment even better. But like, it's not like people didn't write off the major wins that he had just because he hadn't won Worlds. It just added additional pressure of, dude, why the fuck can't you get it done at the one event that like you have to get it done at some point?
Yep. Yeah, maybe it's just League. Maybe it's a League problem because League makes them such a big deal.
That's the problem is like
so small.
think about how different Worlds feels to every other tournament in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Champs feels like by all means it is a bigger event, but it feels like 25% bigger, 30% bigger at most. Like, it's definitely bigger, but it's not like so much to the point where it's overwhelming. The difference between Worlds and every other low esports tournament that is ongoing at the moment is fucking night and day. It's not even the budget has to be at least double, minimum, maybe triple. Like, it's absurd how much more goes into Worlds.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, honestly, that's where they follow traditional sports the most. Having one major thing, like that's a very American sports thing.
Yep.
Like everything just leading up to Worlds. It's just weird because in American sports there are no other like weird little tourneys you can win, throughout the year. I guess the NBA's trying that, but nobody cares. And the NFL doesn't do that. Like, even if you win the AFC or NFC championship, it's whatever, bruh. You got 2 weeks to celebrate. Yep. College sports, does anybody care about winning their conference championship? To be honest, no.
No, they care more about the rivalry
really
games.
Cares.
It's the rivalry games than winning the bowl game.
And then winning the championship. That's about it. Those are what you want. And it just feels like that's how League is. Like, League has gotten to that point where it's just stuck here. And maybe rotating, maybe that idea he has would be it. I mean, it would fit with the co-streaming method that is going on right now.
Yeah.
It would really fit there. But it's going to take, it's going to take a lot of change for that. And it would take Riot basically overhauling everything.
Yeah. Well, that's why I asked him about it. Is like, how do you make that possible?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Like, it's great to talk about in theory, but is Riot going to buy out all the partnership agreements? Is Riot going to upend the system? Because that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And if Riot tries to fuck anybody out of that, it's like, oh no, we got agreements. Good try. Better lawyer up there, pony. And we know Riot's record with lawsuits, unfortunately. Not great. So.
Yeah.
Chat's asking, is there an opening ceremony for MSI finals? There is. But the fact that we have to think about it and can't remember it says it all.
Yep. Who performed the last one?
Couldn't tell you.
I think I'd have to Google it. Like, the World's ones year by year. It's pretty easy to know if you're a music person.
Crawlcook, but I work for one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. I understand the dollar value is nothing compared to a P&L. But if you think that makes people any more or less resistant to spend it, you're out of your mind. Just throwing that out there. $10,000 is enough for them to immediately raise flags.
Yeah, I would say, especially Riot right now, they're in a downsizing kick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing. And you can see it. We haven't talked about it yet because we didn't do last week. But I felt like Arcane Season 2 was a little rushed.
Oh, yeah, we do got to talk about it. Wow.
I thought that was a little rushed.
The last act, yeah, without a question, was
that made me go, yeah, they're definitely in, like, right now they're in we need to hunker down mode. And not saying that's a bad thing.
See, I got the opposite. I got we want to move to the next project so bad, and like start setting up for the next thing so bad.
That's what you think it was?
Well, yeah, they got approved for 5 seasons. And rather than taking 3 and letting Arcane breathe for 1 more, they said, nah, fuck it, we'll do it in 2 and then spend the other 3 for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get, that's probably a tough decision, because they definitely didn't... I don't think they needed a full other season, for sure. I think they only needed, like, 2 more episodes at most.
Yeah.
But, because of that, you rushed the end of it a little bit. But that said, it clearly still went over well. So, as big as our gripes might be.
I think that this season, the ratings reason is because everyone I know who doesn't play League didn't watch this season.
Really?
I think all the diehards were left. Yeah.
At
least disagree. In my sphere, which is very small. And I think that's why the ratings went up.
But I'd be curious to know what the total viewership numbers look like now compared to season 1.
The viewership was down this season.
Is that because streaming numbers are down from where they were? Because don't forget, whenever this came out, we were still coming out of like the COVID
I know
bubble.
people want to use COVID, but there's plenty of streaming shows that keep getting way bigger.
I'm telling you, overall average viewership is
I know that is, but I'm saying there are shows that are still surviving that.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm not saying, but I'm curious to see what happens with the next one after this. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the real telltale sign.
Netflix is actually doing pretty good.
Netflix is doing
so.
Good. But I mean,
I don't think
the thing that makes a difference for me though is like culturally, season 1. Granted, maybe it was because none of the songs were, that big of hits. They were great for the show, but they weren't like massive hits. We have a song right now in the Spotify Global Top 3.
Well, didn't the one that Imagine Dragons did was a huge hit?
It was a hit.
Got like 2 billion plays.
Yes. But it never was in like the top 3 trending charts. Which speaks global. I'm telling you.
Are you sure? You looked that up?
Hang on. We will vet this right now.
Because that song was pretty big. Maybe I'm off.
The thing is that Billboard is also only US. Well, okay, here we go. Billboard
only 1.6 billion. My bad. They're washed.
It hit number 5 in the US Billboard Hot 100.
Okay, number 5 versus number 3.
I'd be curious to know where the streaming numbers end up after 2 years of this. Because I don't think there's no way a French song is ever cracking the Billboard Hot 100. It's not happening. Like it's just not. But I think streaming wise internationally, yeah, this song is going to have a bigger impact and speak more to the culture of it than anything else.
That's a fair point. Fair point. Sorry, I had to set something up to charge.
No, you're good.
I didn't realize how late it was getting. I don't have to go. I just have to have stuff charging for tomorrow.
No, I get it. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
I mean, we will. And I'm not saying it was a bad season.
No, I don't think anybody's
only. I'm only saying I thought it was a little rushed.
Oh, I 100% agree. My biggest claim to fame
what you're saying
is that the music was 20 times better this season. Oh my god, the music was just insane this season.
It was good music this season.
I've got 4 songs from that playlist or from that soundtrack that are in my playlist right now.
Really?
Yeah. Heavy as the Crown, I've stopped listening to the original version, have started listening to the Arcane one. Like I removed the old Heavy as the Crown and put this one in. To Ashes and Blood, the French song, and I will occasionally listen to the Dave song, Remember Me.
Remember Me?
Yeah. Those are my ones. Paint the Town Blue. Paint the Town Blue I did not add to my playlist purely because bad. Wait, you feel bad for what?
I feel bad saying that because LifeX is very nice chatter. But I feel bad saying I did not like that song.
I loved it for the opening ceremony.
It was good for the opening ceremony.
Contextually, like that's the thing. I will never add it to my own playlist ever. But what?
I was trying to fix the camera thing, and I went like this. I went hiya, and to fix it. And... Oops.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
I was trying to karate chop my computer, not support an Austrian painter. I promise. I was just karate chopping my camera that we established earlier on does not work.
Holy shit, Paul. Jesus Christ. Ugh.
I can see it as a workout song.
Yeah,
I can see that.
The problem is I've listened to every single reaction that exists on YouTube to the opening ceremony. There's like 35 of them. I've seen them all. Every single one.
You're just sick of the song.
No. I just can only hear it in that context. I cannot hear the song without thinking of the opening ceremony and that camera coming down.
See.
And there's one specific group of fucking reactors on YouTube that it made me so proud. Okay? Because they were kind of just like, they're being a little bit asshole-ish about the reaction, or about their reaction to the opening ceremony. Just like, really, like, if you're gonna watch something like that, like, actually pay attention to it. Like, don't just like sit here and fucking mouth off to it. Dude, the comment section went fucking in on them. They were like, why the fuck are you gonna waste our time and be disrespectful to us, like, as we're trying to come here and like show you views, and like, you're trying to get the League community to watch this, and you're just sitting here and fucking mocking us the entire time. We're proud of this shit. Go fuck yourself. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
God damn. Good for you guys. Good for the comment section coming in, delivering the haymaker.
That is good.
Yeah, I've seen everyone. Every single opening ceremony reaction video I've watched on YouTube. It's actually sickening.
You love that stuff.
Oh,
I love
the
reaction vids.
I do, but like, I love reaction videos for specific things, which is like that hybrid crossover of like live performances, music, video games, like that side of things. Just something about it. The same way that I've been obsessed with like people who have never watched Broadway reacting to Defying Gravity for the first time. It's a drug of just like watching people that are just like, dude, why are you making me fucking watch musical shit? It's musical theater, quotes, their words, not mine. It's gay as shit. Like, it's like, okay, go listen to the song. Like, objectively listen to the song and tell me it's not great. And immediately, second they get to like the chorus, they're like, oh, okay. Wow, I get it. The same way that yesterday I also went down a rabbit hole of watching people who have somehow, some way, some of them I know were faking the reactions. That's very easy to tell. Some people had never legitimately heard Hell's Bells before in their life.
Really?
Yeah, dude, that's a drug. Getting to vicariously experience somebody listen to the chorus of Hell's Bells come up, and like hearing the singer's voice the entire time, and like, you don't expect him to sound like he does when he comes in. And just like, oh. Dude, I live for that shit.
Well, okay. What is... Try to think, because Khan's almost home, and he's going to want to talk more about Arcane.
Alright.
So, I'm going to try to sprint through my college football playoff grapes.
All right, we'll do that. Then I actually have to mention the topic that I called this episode after that.
Oh, wait, what is it? Do that first.
Well, it was going to be because Beans was here for LTA Tier 2, but this is probably better that you and I can talk about it this way. Did you see who's creating a team?
Oh, yes, Doc Respawn.
Doc Respawn is making a team.
So which tier?
Tier 3. Trying to qualify for that for the open NACL spots. And go from, like, he's gonna try and get into the LCS. Like, he's apparently actually going to be trying to give a team a run for their money. Doc Respawn was a physical therapist for Cloud9 and a few others. I've met him. So when I went to Worlds Finals in 2022, he last minute could go, and he was asking around if anybody had like an extra bed or like an extra room to stay in. Emily was all worried. She's like, "You've never met this guy." It's like, I got enough mutuals. We're fine. He stayed with me in San Francisco. We literally met that night for the first time. But great guy.
That's awesome.
Love Doc. But he messaged me about it. It was like, hey, like prior to announcing it, like, I'm thinking of doing this. Wasn't sure if you'd be interested. And I was like, with 100 Thieves in it, can't. Sorry. But we have somebody that's actually going to be going through the ringer of trying to start a team from scratch and make it up there.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be pretty cool because he's a cool guy. And then seeing he's pretty transparent, so I'm excited to hear his thoughts on it. Like, I hope he makes some long form videos where he really just explains what the process was and what he thought he could have done better or did right.
Yep.
Would be cool as well if it all just works. But it's gonna be interesting. I know like Beans has talked about in the Discord. Well, has he mentioned it? I don't know how much I should talk about, but I know Blue Otter's doing some stuff with their roster.
Yeah, I would hold off on talking about that until Beans is here for that one, just because.
Okay, I'll wait.
He's tipped me off to a few things, and I don't want to be the one to leak anything there. It's not my business to share.
But tier 2, it's getting more and more interesting.
I guess,
especially with that slot.
Is it getting more interesting, or is it just because we know more people in the space now?
It's like, probably just because we know more people.
You and I are way more well connected to the people in tier 2 than we ever used to
be. Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious to see what the vision would be like, vision, Jesus Christ, what the viewership is going to be like for tier 2 when these teams play. That's true. Because if the numbers don't go up at all, then it really is just like the same group of people consolidating around one or two different teams.
And Luminosity didn't really build a team that I think is like actually going to curb stomp it, so I'm curious what happens there. Like their team is pretty mid, to be honest.
Very mid.
Like when I saw it finish, I was like, really? That's okay.
My thing is,
that's your way to make a grand entrance?
If they're going to come in, like, and same thing for Doc, the advice that I would give him is like, you got to do something different. You got to break the mold somehow. You got to be like overly transparent with shit, or you have to find a unique angle that somebody else hasn't taken yet.
Yeah.
Because like, I love Doc. He's not a Cadril or an LS or a Dom where he has enough people that like this is going to have like a massive following on day one. You are building a brand from scratch with a little bit of value because like we know him and like people in the space have the ability to talk about him. But
you can get vouched easy, yeah.
Yes, but you still have to prove your worth. People aren't just going to inherently blindly follow you to mass numbers to the point where it makes you profitable. So I'm curious to see what his approach is. I would love if at the end of the year, regardless of how they finish, let's show everything and I'll walk people through the financials.
Mm-hmm.
Draft a P&L for me for the entire year. What you spent. This was my journey through this. We'll do a content piece together.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll explain to people what worked, what didn't, and we'll do like a whole business check-in at the end of the year. And I'm not saying, basically treat me as your like consultant advisor. And I can sit here and be like, did this work? Was this money well spent? Was it not? Let's advise your business and go from there.
Have you dropped a vid on the DSG stuff yet?
Not yet.
Do you plan to or
next week? Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say that's one I'm looking forward to because I know I'm never gonna buy their thing just to get access to it, but you can explain it, which would be nice.
I mean,
to hear somebody explain the financials.
I can't. The problem is, so I've looked at their financials. I do pay $5 a month for Disguise Patreon, for those that are wondering.
Okay.
The financials are not broken out by section, so I have no ability to know what like how much money the League of Legends program is specifically driving in terms of revenue or expenses. Like it's impossible for me to know exactly what is going on there. You can see their entire bottom line if you care about the org, great. But like if you're trying to grade the League of Legends program, it's impossible to tell from the financials that they provide the true picture of things. He also operates on a cash basis of accounting, which is gonna be a problem at some point, in my opinion. But he'll cross that bridge when he gets to it.
Okay.
Do you know what that means? Like, did you read the thread that I put on it?
Oh, absolutely not. No, okay. I was driving him. Well, I wasn't like driving in my car. I was about to start driving. I don't want people to think I'm twittering and driving. But I was about to start driving, and I saw how long the thread was and the explanation it was on, and I went, "Well, he'll make a YouTube video, I'm sure, one day."
One of these times I will, and I think that's probably that might be next week, or I don't know. I want to do a video on Surdy versus Scary Jerry, and like show off their rivalry, which I think will be a good way to introduce like the two bottom teams of the LTA. But So basically, the accrual versus cash basis of accounting, the skinny version for people. When you operate on a cash basis of accounting, it's like Toast isn't gonna say that money was earned until the cash hits his pocket. So if they have a brand deal for $80,000 made up with I don't know, Logitech, pick a random brand. He's not gonna be able to, or he's not gonna write down that revenue hitting until the cash actually hits, because he has no accounts payable and no accounts receivable. But that's not how normal businesses. I mean, by all means, that's not saying he's not a normal business. It's just saying he's a small business. When you get to the size of Disney or any other major company or any public company, like Luminosity, when I'm looking at their financials, they report revenue the minute it's earned. The second that contract hits and they start doing things to earn revenue, like as part of that contract, they have to recognize the revenue immediately, even if they don't receive the cash. So the entry is you debit revenue, you credit revenue, you debit accounts receivable, and then when you receive the money, you credit accounts receivable to zero that out and debit your cash. So there's a difference in how the P&Ls are stated, and a cash basis P&L is not an accurate reflection of the business itself, in my opinion.
All right, I see what you mean, though. That makes a lot more sense on it. So why is he? Well, it doesn't.
Because
even
he can.
It'll explain
because he's a small. He's a small business, and small businesses are allowed to get away with that because it's just easier. Having an entire accounting department setting up AP, AR, controlling your books like that, it costs money to do, and the government the government is easier on entities that can't necessarily do that. But the IRS will eventually say, hey, how you're reporting your financial statements is not accurate to the actual nature of your business. You need to change to an accrual method. So they will probably at some point, if they keep growing, be forced to change.
Okay.
So
all right,
that's
makes sense.
accounting 101, people. That's what those degrees are for. Okay. Finally getting value of those in the esports space. And we lost like 20 viewers in the process of that.
Sorry. Yep. It is awesome every time you say your YouTube channel is you giving people insight into the finances and business of League of Legends, and all of your fans are just here for your diehard rants about esports. And you've tried so hard to convince people, if you want insight into the finances of League of Legends, you should follow me. And everyone's like, you're never going to get those insights or care. Just follow him for the takes.
Oh, man. Catch 22.
It's so good. It's so good. It's great. I liked Joe trying to get you to give up on 100 Thieves too.
He went a little bit easier on me than I thought he was going to.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he was going to pressure me a little bit more, but he was actually kind of nice throughout that entire thing. And I'm thinking, damn. Okay, fine.
Yeah, it would have been. Oh, what it'll be. I'm waiting for them to announce that they're going to partner Disguised and drop 100 in like spring and see what you do for a full split.
Oh god, I don't know.
Although to be honest, to be honest, I don't think a team could knock out 100 Thieves from tier 2. Like the roster 100 Thieves has.
No, but the roster that 100 Thieves has will get bought out by somebody else. It's not like they're gonna go to tier 2 just to stay with 100
That's a good point. But if they win all they have to do is keep that roster through the end of the year to win the Promorella.
Yeah,
tourney.
but there'll be a clause that basically. Well, actually, no, never mind. All their contracts are up in 2025.
They're up in 2025.
We're 2025. We're going into the 2025 season.
So,
and if you needed any more clue as to why we're not going to be around,
but if they win, what happens if they're in the slot?
You tell me.
They don't.
Zeus won Worlds.
Anyways.
Zeus won Worlds. Is he guaranteed a slot just because he won Worlds?
What do you mean for Zeus?
Zeus won Worlds. His contract was up.
Yes.
If T1 replaced him and nobody else picked him up...
what happens to 100 Thieves?
What? They just go away.
If they win the tourney and then their players all go away, we just have to watch them hobble for one more year?
But what tourney? They're not going to be forced into promotion relegation. Disguise has to play in that this year.
Disguise has to. Okay.
Disguise has to play in that tournament this year.
Okay, I thought like in whenever they make the decision on 100 Thieves, there was a possibility they could force 100 Thieves to it.
No, Disguise is obligated to.
Disguise. Okay.
To my understanding, now there could be some fuck shit that happens. That Riot could. I mean, maybe they could, but to our understanding, Disguise is the one that is required to do so. Bro, that would be. Oh, dude, don't even. If Riot pulled that shit and swapped them and put 100 Thieves in that slot.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I think that's actually terrible because nobody on 100 Thieves would give a shit. At all. The players wouldn't care. They're all going to get disbanded. They would 1000% disband and join another team. Every single one of them. Ayla's not getting the job, but the rest would. 1000%. So why would they care if they get relegated or not? It's not like they're going to have a slot with 100 Thieves because 100 Thieves is leaving and all their contracts are up, so the org coming in has no obligation to keep them.
I also just don't think they could lose that.
They wouldn't.
Like they would curb stomp that tourney.
They would, but they're not going to.
Talented.
Right? I'm telling you right now, there's no world where Riot forces 100 Thieves to play in that promotion relegation tournament versus Disguised. They'll let Disguised play in it, and then when Disguised gets relegated, or if they stay, then what they'll do is they'll say, oh, the team that nearly beat Disguised, here's your consolation prize. You're still in. Congratulations. You're going up, and Disguised is going to be a partner team, which will negate every part of the hype around that, but alas.
Yeah. Or they'll just let somebody buy the provisional slot.
They could. But I mean, the thing is, when the team that buys the provisional slot, good fucking luck. That roster.
Well, Joe said who should. Come on.
TSM.
One team that could sell out
shut up.
arena. He said that.
That
they haven't even been around for 2 years and they could sell out an arena. And you said probably, didn't you?
I did.
You said that. You went probably. And I could see. I actually was listening in the car, paused the video, went backwards 10 seconds, double tapped my phone screen, played it, and watched your eyes. I was so happy when Joe said that. I was like, oh, give me that. And I saw you go, probably. Because I knew you were sitting there somewhere Paul heard this 2-second clip and was just so happy. And I was very happy.
He's not wrong. He's really not. You guys still that's the thing that I do want to. I hate Reggie. I hate the upper management of TSM, but I would love to see the brand come back just to piss off everybody. It'd be so great.
I'm really sad they haven't been bought out.
Oh, dude, that's what I'd be hoping. But I wonder how many people would follow the brand if they got bought out and Reggie was gone and everybody and Walter.
I think the brand is the brand.
Do you think a lot of people raise enough money to buy TSM?
Us? No. They own Blitz. Blitz is the real thing you have to buy.
Yeah, but what the fuck is that? Okay, let's buy. I don't know. They can keep Blitz. What the fuck is Blitz?
Yeah.
What does Blitz have to do with TSM? You can keep Blitz and just sell off TSM, the sector.
True.
The same way that Immortals had Optic under their umbrella and then sold Optic to Hex.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Hear me out. Long play. TSM people are fucking idiots. This would never happen. Double It buys TSM.
They'll never sell it to Double Lift.
But imagine if they did.
Why would Double Lift buy them?
Because then he'd have his own team, and he'd have the 10th most popular team in the world instantly.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, if he did. Or Bjerg.
Oh, dude, if Bjerg... Oh, dude, fuck me if Bjergsen did.
If Bjerg wanted to do that, that'd be sick.
Bro, imagine. They'd be the most popular team in North America instantly. It wouldn't even be close. Cloud9 fans would be sweating. They'd be like, fuck, we have to deal with this again. We had to hear TSM chants unironically in stadiums again.
Yeah. He wouldn't do it, but it would be awesome if he wanted to.
It'd be great if he did.
He probably... I mean, I don't know. It'd be nice. It's all dreaming. And when he said that, I was just smiling. I've accepted it's long gone dead, you know? But it made me happy when he brought them up. It's like a relic of your past being brought up.
Yep. Oh,
then it reminded me... What?
When he credited Optic for good content and everything Call of Duty, it brought a smile to my face. I was like, ah.
Oh, I bet. It also, like, reminded me... Or it made me think, like, oh man, I still got to pick a team. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to pick a team.
I'll be honest, and I'm going to make a video on this separate from Cloud, because I know Cloud Sicky made a video talking about, like, the emails and all that. None of them really impressed me all that much. And I think that's partially because, like, I don't think emails are going to be the best way to convince a fan to be a fan, period. But, like,
yeah.
I don't know. It didn't do... Like, I read through them and I was like, none of these did a great job of, like, really convincing me why I should be a fan of your team.
I mean, they used to be... What is it? When I first started watching, it was content, right?
Yep.
Constant live streaming and, like, fun that got me addicted. And TSM Cribs was new. So all that was just cool to me. No team has done anything unique enough lately that has really, like, screamed me. And I'm at the point where it's like, I'd be a fan of probably any of them but Cloud9. I just don't like Cloud9. It's life. But, like, I don't think TL or Fly, like, really are that interesting, I guess. If that's fair to say. Like, they've been around too long, and I've watched my team compete with them long enough. They'd have to do something to convince me, and they haven't really done a lot. Obviously, who'd want to be a fan of Dig? Who'd want to be a fan of 100 Thieves after what their president said? Why would you want to be a fan of DSG when you know there's a chance that they could get kicked out every single year? Like, that just sounds like pure hell and torment. And then, why, like...
And to be
Lion clear, Gaming? I don't even know.
Lion Gaming is automatically out for most North American fans. The thing I would say about Disguised is that there are going to be people that are like, well, that's not fair to them. Whenever, like, people used to support teams back in the days when promotion relegation existed, is like, yeah, but there weren't teams with a safety net no matter what. So, like, no matter what you do, like, you know there's 5 other teams that you're looking over at and being like, they can't lose their spot? Really? They don't have to stress about this shit? Fuck it, yeah. I'll go there.
No, yeah. Like, DSG's in a tough spot. And then for Fly and TL, I get why people like them. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying, like, I was a fan of another team who competed with them for a while, so they'd have to do something, like, drastic to get me, you know?
What would that drastic thing be? Do you have anything in your mind?
I had no idea. Like, I know this sounds whack, but I feel like no drive for any team right now. It's kind of weird. Like, I've just been like, I'm just going to watch, I guess. And maybe a team will speak to me. I think that's honestly better than what I did last year. Let somebody speak to me and just kind of fall into one.
Let it happen naturally.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's what happened with TSM. I just started watching Odd One. And then he was like, hey, I actually play for a league team. And then he retired that exact year. Like, that exact time I was getting into it. But, I mean, it's still how I got in. I think I just need to go back to that because, yeah, I cheered for Energy because, I mean, obviously we had the guy on and he was selling me a whole line of malarkey, I know at this point. But, which was all just lies, I guess, because they're long gone and their future plan to grow in esports was clearly not very future-proof for League of Legends. But it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a strange place to be, I guess, with League. I know Khan hasn't picked a team in a year. Like, he just hasn't felt like picking one. It's kind of weird.
I'm curious. This is a question for you and for chat, and I need everybody to be dead honest with me entirely. I don't want you to bullshit me. I don't want you to say this because you think you're being nice to me or being kind. All right? I need yeses in chat to acknowledge this before I ask it, because I don't want to ask it beforehand. I want us to make sure we're all dead serious on the same page with each other, that you are going to give me an open and honest answer to this. Seeing one yes, I need one more. Okay. Would me signing with an org and putting out content with that org be enough to convince you to become a fan of that team alongside just watching for me, if I was able to give you a reason through content?
I mean, for me, yes, but I'm your friend. I feel like that's pretty easy for me now. I'm sure a lot of your fans would say yes who donate.
Well, that's
things like that. I watch a lot of your content.
But I'm glad Crawl Cook said no, because I was hoping there would be people that would say no, because that's a realistic answer for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you right now, Colin, it's never going to be C9. Don't worry about that. But that's what I was wondering, because like I know for people, like I ream a lot on this channel, and I even mentioned it to Joe about, like, you know, LS and the FlyQuest effect, and like whether people will actually become a fan of the organization that their content creator follows, or if they're just there because of that person. And my thing is, if I don't have like a group of people in the community that I felt specifically within 100 Thieves, because that's kind of the angle that I've been positioning myself to be for the last year. Like, there will be people that follow me for my general LCS content, which Crawl Cook has already said. Completely understand. That's not the people that like I'm thinking about in this situation. Am I going to be able to drive value and drive fans of the team? Because my goal is to sell out Madison Square Garden with my team only. Not a Riot event, nobody else, just my team. Mm-hmm. And if I can't convince people that that is genuinely the case, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to know, like, honestly, whether people would or not. That's like, chat right now and reading through this is a really good measurement for me to like be able to get any sort of semblance of like the diehard fandom, because we have 14 people watching, which I know is like a fraction of the content or the fraction of the numbers that I put out, but it's the most diehard and loyal people that are here in this moment.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everybody who, well, most of the people who say no for you are C9 fans. Anyways, and you have a lot of C9 fans.
Yeah, I do. Because, you know, I poke the bear, so I get it.
Yeah. But it's like, everyone else is probably teamless at this point, or a fan of a team that they don't really care about. Like, I get somewhat what Pantaleimon is saying. He said, like, you can't become a fan of a team if you don't interact with the rest of the fandom, so that's kind of on you. Yeah. But I tried interacting with NRG's fandom, and it was, like, basically pointless. And I've watched FlyQuest and TL stuff, but I'm saying, like, I just don't... It doesn't feel right. Something about it just doesn't feel right because my team competed against them.
Yeah.
And the rest of those fan bases or organizations, I don't really speak to me. Like, I know it's crazy to say, but there's been a lot of turnover in LCS, and the ones who've stuck around, I just hated for a long time. So it's awkward to cheer for somebody you hated forever. And then on top of it, like, the new ones that have joined aren't really that promising, if we're being honest. Like, picking DSG is pretty tough to do, because you have to accept that your team could make Worlds and is still competing to even be in the league after Worlds.
Yeah.
That's weird. And then, like, Lions, once again, nothing needed for that. Dig, nothing needed for that. Who's the only other team? 100 Thieves? And Shopify, like, Shopify is kind of cool, I guess, but I mean, come on, Microsoft Paint PNG upload for your team roster announcement? Like, whatever, bruh. I guess.
Yeah, it's not your style. I know. I can see why it appeals to some people, but it's definitely not yours.
Yeah.
You and I are too sports pilled to accept that as the standard.
I mean, it is what it is, and there are good teams in there. I'm not saying they all suck. And I know, like, I'm just saying, like, I'm in a weird spot where I've looked at every team this offseason, and none of them has felt right yet. And that doesn't mean I'm closed the door on any of them. I'm just waiting. And I can see a lot of people waiting. We're in December. So I've waited a while. I think a lot of people without teams are probably just waiting.
Panta brings up a great point. He said, I disagree. Just look at K Corp and Koi. They didn't have anything sure about the LEC, and fandom was huge and loyal. But that's because there was a separate tie specifically with the regional groups. And that's what allows you to stay, despite not knowing whether you're going to have a team in the LEC or not, is you have something that provides value to your local community.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. And that's what is missing massively from North America. And we might hate on the Overwatch model, as Khan will tell you. But there's no denying in my mind that you need a regional tie to be able to grow. In some capacity. I'm not saying the whole org does, but you need to have a pillar somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to appeal to anybody in the LTA if the time comes next year and 100 Thieves leaves saying, like, hey, I need you to brand your whole thing around New York. I don't think that's going to be the case. But I think what I can slowly do is the same thing that I've been doing this entire time, which is convince them to let me plant a flag for that org in this area. All right. And people will end up naturally gravitating towards it in years to come. Because I'll give you a reason to be there. I will give you more than what teams are currently giving you online and get you to show up for those things and get you to come there and get the sense of like, oh, you know, if there are people that are like, oh, I'm between New York and Boston for a job. If I go to New York, I can watch Team Liquid games. I can watch FlyQuest games in Boston. I can watch Cloud9 games in, Miami or DC or wherever it's going to be. Like, you got to give people a reason beyond that. And then you can slowly bleed it. And then maybe 5 years from now, FlyQuest looks at it and is like, okay, wait, all of a sudden 60% of our fan base is in New York. What the fuck? Okay, fine. We'll push this. And it's like, yeah, but you gotta plant that. You gotta let it grow.
Yeah. And that is one thing too with, I think, some of these orgs is there's not a lot of interaction. Not a ton. Like, unless you go into people's, I guess they're Discords, but I've never been an org Discord guy. I'm more of an org Reddit guy. And most orgs Reddits are like slowly dying.
Yeah.
So maybe that's also just part of like my old man syndrome,
Yeah.
Slowly faltering. And like 90% of people I know who watch League of Legends are C9 fans.
Yep.
So, or 100 Thieves fans, which I mean, soon enough to be something else at this point.
Oh,
we're being real.
We'll find out. I don't know.
I mean, if being dead honest, simply because of your content, I probably would have watched 100 Thieves this year if it weren't for what that president said. I can't, in my right conscience, cheer for a team. I want to cheer for him too, because I like FBI and I've been standing up to bat for him a lot. But I can't openly support a team where the president is that dumb. And I'm saying dumb. I know your podcast and your brand is close to them, but that's a stupid statement to say as from a fan perspective. I hate that stuff. When you're like, go cheer for somebody else if you want this. It's like, really, pal? Really? Like, could you imagine? Oh, if a Carolina head coach said, go cheer for Duke. He'd be gone.
They'd be fired.
He'd be gone.
What do you think the speed run would be? From the time that statement comes out of his mouth to being fired, how
long? They would end his press conference early and shake his hand. With like the pack your bags handshake. Like, and they would go up there and they would like have to make a statement on the spot. The AD would probably have to come make a statement on the spot. Like, you have to be like, okay, let me give a talk. The interim coach is coming in now.
Yeah.
Like, this is over. I mean, that really drove me up a wall because I wanted to be a 100 Thieves fan low key, but you kind of, especially keeping most of the roster and kind of just stabilizing bot lane, I think isn't bad.
Yeah.
For that team, but
Tatara asked the age-old question of who will I support if 100 Thieves leaves, and I will give the age-old answer of we will find out when the moment comes. I can't give an honest answer when my heart is in one place. You can't enter a relationship until you're officially over your current girlfriend / ex, soon to be ex potentially.
That'll be who you'll join. It's called that. There's one team that couldn't give you enough. There's 3 others who should.
I would get that one-liner email that the dude got, being like, "We know there's a heated rivalry, but what do you think?" Be like, Hey, you guys, here's what they're saying. Anybody else, please? No. All love the C9. I know we banter a lot. Again, I will keep saying Jack is looking to do LTA watch parties with us next year. So I love C9 and all that they do for the scene. It's just don't expect me to be a fan. Like it does not make sense.
Till you keep hosting C9 watch parties in New York City, and they're the biggest New York City.
And then they slowly win me over that way, and then at the end of the year I have to say fuck it, fine. What movie quote is that where the dude's like, fuck it, fine? I forget. I don't know. Either way, that's going to be the end of the league stuff, people. But Paul, I know, wants to say something about college football. He's on his phone checking the rankings right now, crying at the fact that Alabama's still in it.
No, the college football stuff?
Yep.
Oh, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet because I think we've gone pretty long.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to say, how is Bama still always in regardless of what happens? It is insanity. And I mean, once again, a lot of ESPN people have been saying, like, you got to put Bama in because they've just played such good teams. All their big wins are at home. And they have 3, I guess Tennessee's a good loss, and 2 other ugly losses.
The Vanderbilt loss?
Yes, so ugly. And I don't know how people act like all these other teams have bad losses and Bama doesn't. It's crushing me. I ain't gonna lie. It's completely crushing me.
I mean, they're not gonna win regardless. Nor is whatever team goes in their slot. So it's not like I care all that much, if I'm being honest. But I do agree. It feels a little weird having Bama in there. But what all SEC schools are in? Texas A&M, and who else? Or no, is A&M in? Hang on, I need to look up the bracket again.
A&M is not Texas's.
Let's see, college football playoff. All right. The latest bracket is, I can't believe Arizona State's in there. That's blowing my mind. The fact that this is the wild part to me, okay? As it stands right now, barring anything changing, one of Arizona State, Penn State, and Boise State is guaranteed top 4. That's so
Arizona,
dumb.
you said.
Arizona State, Penn State, and Boise State are one of those 3 is guaranteed top 4.
Well, not Penn State.
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to win.
They'd have to beat Arizona State and then beat Boise State, yeah. But one of those 3 teams, based on how the bracket is currently arranged, is guaranteed to be in the top 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when you have Texas, Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee all in this bracket, there should be one SEC team in each slot. You should not should not under any circumstance, if you're going to have multiple teams, if you are going to have multiple teams from the same conference, they should not be allowed to be in the same side of the bracket. I think that should be a rule, personally.
Mm-hmm.
There's no world where we should see Texas versus Georgia in a quarterfinal matchup, and then Penn State, Boise State as the other. How the fuck is that equal?
It doesn't make any sense to me, I'm not going to lie.
Like, dear God. I'm praying to God at this point that Penn State upsets Oregon. Praying to God. Hey, Doc, how's it going? Talked about you a little bit earlier. But yeah, Alabama, SMU, Notre Dame. Another, like, I'm just looking at this, and I'm just seeing, like, this Indiana, Georgia, Texas bracket. It's just fucked. And then Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon. How do you have those three in like their own sections, and then the other two are Arizona State, Penn State, Boise State, Alabama, Notre Dame, SMU? What the fuck? What is that?
Bro, it doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I really don't. Like,
it genuinely
you should
no sense.
You should 1000%. I get they're trying to go by rankings, but like, I'm sorry, once you get the 12 teams sorted in that you know are going to be in there, fuck any rankings you have, make the best matchups possible. Am I wrong?
No, thinking about it, yeah. No, that's the way to do it. It's just crushing me. I don't know. The more I've looked at it, the more it's just annoying.
And who all can get eliminated from this weekend if they lose?
Allegedly just SMU. Well, Boise State, they're gone if they lose.
Who does SMU play?
SMU plays Clemson.
Okay, so one of either Clemson or SMU is guaranteed getting in.
Which they said if SMU loses to Clemson and it's not an embarrassment, they'll keep SMU over Bama.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. So everybody's going to be praying on SMU to lose in a close one to
Yes,
Clemson.
in a close game. They want SMU to lose in a close game. UNLV, if they beat Boise State, gets in.
Yeah,
they're gonna
and Boise State will be out if that happens.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Because that conference is too weak. If you lose that game and you're a 2-loss Boise State, you should not be there. Yep. Arizona State's not in a championship game, I don't think.
No.
Penn State obviously is, but them or Oregon is guaranteed in, and a loss to one or the other does not kick either of them out. Both of them are fine. Alabama, we already said, is on the fence pending results. Indiana is, I think, in no matter what.
Yep.
There's no way that they fall out. Georgia, you guys play Texas, right? It's you and Texas in the...
Yep.
That's fucked, by the way.
Why?
That you guys are playing in the SEC championship together, and currently you would face in the quarterfinals of the playoffs as well. That's fucked.
That is really weird.
That's fucked.
I don't like the bracket. The bracket was my biggest problem.
Well, here's what I think happens. Here's what I think the playoff committee is counting on. If SMU wins and Boise State wins, I think they want Texas to win so they can bump Georgia down to 12. Or, no, they can bump Georgia down to 11 and put Alabama 12, and it fixes the bracket entirely. Because if that happens, then you have Alabama versus Penn State, then going into the Boise State matchup.
I mean, when you look at the bracket, it looks really too, because Georgia versus IU is such a weird one. Like Georgia IU into Texas, Notre Dame, Bama into SMU. Like, that just feels weird.
Yeah.
And Ohio State playing Oregon again, Georgia playing Texas for the third time. That just doesn't strike me as natural, but
I personally, Colin, don't think Penn State moves. I think here's what the committee's hoping for. I think the committee's hoping for Oregon to obviously win. Doesn't matter the margin. They're not going to count it against Penn State at all. Boise State to win, SMU to win, and Texas to win. That way they keep all the teams in the bracket that are currently in the bracket. But it allows them to swap Alabama to Arizona State slot. And then Arizona State, they currently have Arizona State at 12. So Arizona State bumps up to Arizona State bumps up to 10. Goes against Georgia, because Georgia would go down. Fuck. I'm just trying to get rid of this fucking. I do not want to see Georgia Texas in a quarterfinal matchup. That's terrible. That's terrible. That cannot happen. Ugh. I don't know. But nevertheless, I still love this. I love the drama of all this. It's so much fun.
Yep.
But all right. That's gonna be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We are gonna dip out for tonight. I will be live again Friday, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. You gonna be able to play games at all, Paul, or no?
Tonight?
No, not tonight. Tonight I got plans right after this is done.
No, I won't be.
Okay.
This Friday now. I'll have some stuff.
Gotcha. All right. If you guys haven't already seen the Joe Marsh interview, go check it out if you don't mind. But in general, thank you to everybody for stopping by tonight. Hope you had a good night. Hope you had fun. Next week, we're going to have Beans on to talk a little bit more LTA Tier 2. If we get any LTA Tier 1 news, great. If not, kind is what it is. And welcome to off season. It's just the nature of shit. We kind of throw it against the wall. We will do a caller episode before the new year. I can promise you that. We've got what? 1, 2. We got 2 more weeks, and then I will not be here for Christmas, so we cannot do Christmas that week. So we got 2 more weeks. I promise we'll do a viewer call or a call-in episode on the 18th. And that'll be it. LTA roster predictions. I'm saving LTA predictions for the new year. When we get into 2025, then we can start talking about 2025, like actual hard-on predictions with tier lists and everything else. So, all right, that's going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for swinging by. Be sure to follow Paul on Twitter. Follow me wherever.